There's a difficult truth about relationships that often goes unsaid. A person's significant intimate history isn't just a collection of anecdotes, it often leaves psychological imprints that profoundly shape their approach to love, trust, and commitment. Drawing on concepts of behavioral psychology and attachment theory, every deep emotional experience, especially in intimate relationships, contributes to a person's internal working model of how relationships function. When an individual has a pattern of numerous, short, or emotionally shallow connections, their psyche may develop defense mechanisms and survival strategies that make building a stable, deeply committed future difficult. These patterns are often overlooked, dismissed as a complicated personality or modern values. Yet, understanding these signs isn't about judgment, it's about sober diagnosis. It's about recognizing ingrained behavioral scripts that can point to an individual's current capacity for a deep, long-term bond. We will explore key signs that indicate a person may be operating from a place of emotional detachment and a survival-focused approach to intimacy, making it challenging to establish a genuine, lasting connection. 7 Signs of limited emotional availability. The following behavioral patterns suggest a person's emotional wiring may be oriented toward short-term excitement rather than long-term security and investment. Sign 1. The illusion of immediate intimacy, emotional detachment. A powerful sign of an inability to commit is the mistaken comfort that arises from an overly rapid approach to intimacy. A person may discuss or engage in the physical aspects of a relationship with an unusual, even impressive, ease and detachment. This behavior, which many mistake for confidence or modern freedom, can be a symptom of a deeper issue, the complete erosion of natural emotional barriers. A healthy psyche instinctively protects its vulnerability and requires a gradual buildup of trust. When a person handles intimacy like a mechanical routine, it can indicate that the emotional attachment mechanism has been damaged or devalued. Their actions and dialogue may feel rehearsed or overly polished, they know the moves, the lines, and the reactions that trigger a certain response. This ease isn't a gift of connection, it's a marker that for them, this is not the start of something unique, but simply a repeat of a familiar script. Sign 2, the glass wall, fundamental emotional isolation. This sign reveals a profound difficulty in achieving true emotional closeness. The person may be physically present, engaging in conversations and routines, but a significant part of their inner world remains strictly inaccessible. You will always feel as if you are looking at them through an invisible glass wall. This isn't temporary shyness, it is a fundamental inability to let another person fully in. It manifests in how they handle vulnerability. Surface-level conversations, all discussions about deep fears, shaping childhood experiences, or core vulnerabilities are quickly diverted with a joke or a change of subject. Conflict avoidance/exit strategy. In moments of conflict, instead of using emotional tools for repair, patience, compromise, vulnerability, they either shut down into icy silence or move directly to a threat of ending the relationship. This pattern suggests that repeated cycles of closeness and separation in their history taught them that deep emotional investment leads to pain, and their psyche now blocks the possibility of true intimacy. Sign 3, the orbit of attention, dependency on external validation. This pattern involves maintaining an unusually large network of contacts, often former partners or interested suitors, that serves as a constant orbit of male/female attention. Their self-esteem appears critically dependent on the continuous validation of their attractiveness from multiple sources. These contacts often function as emotional insurance or backup plans. While they may be dismissed as just friends, their presence ensures a steady flow of attention, making the person less emotionally reliant on their current partner. This scattering of emotional energy makes it nearly impossible to fully invest in building depth with one person. The individual is unable or unwilling to set clear boundaries because they enjoy the flow of attention too much, even if it actively undermines trust in the primary relationship. Sign 4, affection as currency, transactional intimacy. A cynical, yet common, pattern is the use of physical or emotional affection not as an expression of love, but as a tool or currency for control. The individual has unconsciously learned that intimacy is the most powerful lever to influence a partner. This transactional relationship is visible in calculated timing. Withholding, they might withhold affection when upset, knowing it's the fastest way to elicit an apology or concession. Initiating, they might suddenly become physically attentive when they need a favor, an expensive purchase, or forgiveness for a mistake. The emotional connection becomes blurred with strategy. The individual can no longer separate sincere expression from calculated action because, in their mind, the two have become permanently intertwined, leading to an ever-present doubt about the authenticity of their affection. Sign 5, Master of the Ego, Sophisticated Emotional Manipulation. This sign describes a highly refined, almost instinctive, ability to manage a partner's emotions and self-esteem to maintain dependence. Through accumulated experience, the individual gains a sophisticated understanding of their partner's psychological weaknesses. Their compliments and words of admiration are often too perfect, they hit the target of your insecurities and ambitions with the precision of a sniper. The pattern is one of heat up, cool down, praise, then subtle devaluation. This cycle keeps the partner in a constant state of emotional tension and chasing approval. They might provoke mild jealousy by innocently mentioning another person's availability. They might offer sudden, seemingly profound vulnerability to elicit a need for protection. This doesn't come from a place of genuine connection, but from a well-honed performance, a carefully crafted persona designed to elicit a specific, controlling reaction. Sign 6, Pride instead of reflection, diagnosis of emotional defiance. A critical split in a person's value system is a defiant lack of natural delicacy or self-reflection regarding their past. While society correctly tells us to move past shame, a healthy person retains a sense of selectivity and reverence for deep intimate experiences. In this case, the lack of reflection is replaced by bravado. They discuss their history with an ease that suggests it holds no profound meaning. This overt pride can function as armor against facing deep-seated feelings of regret or trauma. They use modern rhetoric about freedom and non-judgment as a weapon to disarm any partner who tries to set standards or ask sincere questions about their capacity for commitment. This creates a chasm in worldviews. They fundamentally may not grasp why loyalty and exclusivity are important, seeing partners as interchangeable or temporary, thus approaching a serious relationship with a house of cards mentality. Sign 7, the relationship conveyor belt, the pattern of novelty seeking. The most objective and irrefutable sign is the cold, hard statistic of their life, a stable, recurring pattern of short, intense, but fleeting relationships. Their romantic history is a conveyor belt where the ending is always the same, a swift breakup and an immediate move on to the next person. This suggests an addiction to novelty seeking, the dopamine rush that comes with the initial stage of passion. When the honeymoon phase wears off and the relationship demands deeper work, patience, and emotional compromise, they become restless and subconsciously look for an excuse to exit. Pattern check the duration of their past relationships. If there is a pattern of quick exits, e.g., all less than a year or two, it's not bad luck, it's a strategy for avoidance. Narrative, they will always portray themselves as a victim of circumstances, we were too different, they couldn't handle my success, refusing to acknowledge that the only common denominator in all the stories is them. This pattern demonstrates a fundamental lack of the emotional tools necessary to be a marathon runner in a relationship, making a long-term commitment profoundly difficult. Making a conscious choice. Recognizing these behavioral patterns is not a call for judgment but for sober analysis and, critically, self-discovery. Before rushing in to save or fix a person, one must ask, why am I drawn to this dynamic? Often, the draw is not for the person's true self, but for the drama, the challenge, or a subconscious desire to save or fix something within oneself. Experience profoundly shapes people, and a history of chaotic, short, or emotionally detached intimate experiences will rewire a person's approach to trust and commitment. To ignore these changes is to voluntarily sign up for the role of a fleeting extra in their ongoing story. You deserve a partner who values exclusivity, who possesses the emotional maturity to build and repair a relationship over time, and who sees your connection as something unique and sacred. Choosing a partner is arguably the most important decision one makes, impacting peace of mind, future stability, and emotional health. Just as you wouldn't invest all your assets in a company with a terrible, repeating credit history, you should not bet your emotional future on a person whose behavioral patterns scream of an inability to give you the stable, deep connection you seek. Make a conscious choice for your future, not for someone else's complicated past. Sign 8, Inability to handle emotional, mundane, the pursuit of peak drama. A person whose intimacy has been characterized by a rapid cycle of high-intensity passion followed by immediate exit often becomes addicted to emotional volatility. They lose the capacity to appreciate or even tolerate the mundane stability of a healthy, long-term relationship. This manifests as an almost compulsive need to manufacture crises. If the relationship becomes predictable, calm, or harmonious, they may subconsciously feel bored, restless, or even anxious. They start creating manufactured conflicts, picking fights over trivial matters or blowing minor issues out of proportion. Testing boundaries relentlessly, pushing limits to see if their partner will still react dramatically, the old, familiar script. Romanticizing the threat, they might express longing for the excitement of a previous, tumultuous relationship, mistaking instability for passion. In essence, their attachment system requires drama to feel alive, because calm and consistency feel like a threat to their carefully constructed defenses. They are comfortable with the roller coaster but terrified of the smooth road. Roller coaster. Sign 9, the disregard for shared future planning, temporal dissociation. When a person has numerous short-term connections, their temporal framework for relationships often collapses into the immediate present. Planning for a distant future, beyond the next few months, feels foreign, threatening, or even dishonest to them. This isn't just being non-committal, it's a fundamental difficulty in integrating the current partner into a cohesive, long-term vision. You'll notice this in specific behaviors. Vague future talk, when asked about next year's holidays, moving in together, or shared financial goals, their answers are always imprecise, conditional, or easily changed. Lack of joint investment, they are hesitant to invest significant time, money, or emotional energy into joint projects, e.g., home decorating, learning a difficult new skill together, deep financial merging. This is because they instinctively prepare for the inevitable exit by keeping their resources emotionally and materially separate. For someone accustomed to revolving doors, the concept of building a permanent structure with one person seems impractical or naive. They live in the now, because the then requires an accountability they have trained themselves to avoid. Hourglass not done. Sign 10, Inability to receive sincere praise without suspicion, defensive hyperawareness. This final sign relates back to hyperawareness, sign 5, but focuses on the reception of positive input. Because intimacy has been used transactionally, sign 4, or has been linked to manufactured drama, sign 8, unadulterated, sincere positive affirmation is